How's things?
Yeah, good. I just had to put Child to bed, and I told Child that I didn't have a lot of time because I had a very important meeting, and she proceeded to do everything in slow motion.
That's how it works. I believe when you say I have all the time in the world, however, it goes even slower.
Yeah. So I was trying not to get like cross because it's not
Right,
her problem,
right.
to use my
Facts.
own catchphrase. Um, However, internally, I was getting really pissed off. But yeah, apart from that, all good.
Very
Um,
good.
let's play the intro music. This is the intro music.
Good. Hello, friends. My name is James.
My name's Matt. James is
Uh,
distracting me because he's live editing our notes in front of my
no, I'm
face.
not.
You are.
I
You're
put a
doing
full
something.
stop in it. I put a full. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time, listen to the Emo Dad podcast, which it might be because it's an interview episode and we always get some newbies.
Newbies, welcome
Um,
newbies.
welcome, welcome. This is how it works. Um, this is the UK's third best,
Second.
um, second best emo punk hardcore and nonsense podcast. We have interviews, we have deep dives, we have mainly logistics.
We love logistics.
It's a 98% logistics podcast, if we're honest. Um, Give me a fact like the largest number of lorries on a tour. I'll be gone for a month researching that. That's all I'll be thinking about for the next year. And there is like a little Easter egg for later in the show. There's a really good logistics question we
Oh
have
yeah.
for the a really good one, a really like emo dad core logistics question for the band as it is. We will be interviewing later in today's show.
Well, very shortly in today's show, even.
5 minutes. What the other thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, we don't edit.
No, I've warned the band that we'll be straight into it.
Yes, how it works. So what you're getting is like live pre-chat whilst Matt and we're in the green room. That's where we like to describe it, even though thanks to our excellently designed Emo Dad podcast backgrounds, it's a black room. Um, but we're waiting here for our friends to join us.
Do
And
you
so
think we
what
should, sorry to interrupt you, do that a lot lately, didn't
this is the theme. The theme for season 10 is interrupting Rico.
I? Well, it's the only way to stop you talking. Um, since you came off the drugs.
That is absolutely true. Since we got off the drugs, the ADHD is uncontrolled.
Um, we it's going to be a bit different this interview.
It is. We need to prep the listeners for that.
Prep listeners. So, we're going to have hopefully some good chat with the band about their band and their lives. However, we're also going to chat about running. Now, this is a chance just to quickly explain why, because you think, okay, that's a bit odd. And you'd be right. This is an odd situation where worlds collide.
Right. It's a collab. It's a crossover. It's a mixtape of an episode, this one.
It is. So well, obviously we'll talk about this more later, but the lads are running the Brighton Marathon,
Hmm.
and in my real world job,
How
I
dare
am
you?
a running coach.
This is your career right
You'll
here.
be surprised not to hear
This
that
is your
this
career.
isn't my
The
job.
other thing is just a distraction.
This is
This
true.
is the real life. The
This is
other
true.
thing is a dream.
This is true. Okay, in my part-time life,
Correct.
I'm a running coach. So we're gonna hopefully give the lads some advice for their marathon.
That's the plan. During that time period, which will be 30 to 40 minutes into the episode,
It won't be.
um,
It won't
I,
be. We won't
James,
keep to timings.
no, but that's the dream. That's what I note to say. Um, James will obviously be watching Chelsea Arsenal. That's what James will do. I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't know, do that much. We'll see. We'll see if that becomes a comedy bit we'll do later. Um, what was I going to say? So, if you're only here for running,
Well, okay, yeah, maybe
when the
someone.
lads get here, skip half an hour on, maybe 45 minutes, and we'll see where we are. If you're only here for band chat, I'll let you know when you can move on. The good news either way is you're still contributing to our listener numbers.
Yes. God, imagine if someone tuned into this just because they don't even know who the band is. They just want to hear about running.
There will be. A sizable chunk of our Instagram comments are from people who were only here because of running.
A lot of our people run actually, and yeah. So if you're into pop punk, emotional, post-hardcore-esque rock and roll
And running.
and running, this is your lucky fucking day.
Yeah, just to reassure everyone, there will not be running content every week.
No, this isn't gonna, unless, lots of bands are doing marathons, then maybe this could be our new thing.
Your new thing. I think, I might. We'll have to, we'll have to sort of create some sort of like Matt's running segment where James can go and like talk to himself for half an hour, and
We
then
have
come back.
two people in the waiting room,
Oh, good.
right bang
Definitely
on time.
professionals.
Shall I let them in?
Yeah, do it.
Oh, no, we got three. Hang on.
Oh, the
I'm just gonna,
plan
I'm just
changes.
clicking let everyone in and see what happens. I now see you twice, James, which is odd.
No,
Hello.
no.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, wow. People are appearing all over the
Excellent.
place.
We've got one more than we thought, which is good. Very, very excited.
We one up.
Ali, so the little bit every welcome to the podcast, gentlemen. In a minute we will introduce you and bring you into the audience. We need to do the bit where ADHD James gets really obsessed with everything that he can see in everybody's room, and we're
Okay.
just going to pause for that moment.
Yeah, this
Ali,
will take 20 minutes.
how in the all it is holy did you manage to get speakers that are exactly the same color as your wallpaper?
I think that's an optical illusion.
I'm
The
so
wallpaper
upset.
is a bit greener, and the speakers are kind of more grey. Otherwise, that would have been really cool. But unfortunately,
Right?
yeah,
I thought
optical
they were
illusion.
built into the wall.
Sorry to disappoint.
They
Yeah,
were built into the wall, Allie.
Yeah.
right. Right. Now, Patty, you have some very artful things to balance your speakers on.
Yeah, that's correct. These are Stephen King books, and these are R.L. Stein's Goosebumps books.
Is it the Tower series?
It is the Tower series. I was gifted it by my dad as a either birthday or Christmas present. I've not read a single one. I've read a fair amount of Stephen King, but none of this. And
Good.
partially it's
Good.
because they hold up my speakers, and if I take them out, what
this
are
is
the
a
speakers going to rest on?
Yeah. This is a public health announcement. If you are going to read the Stephen King Tower series, I would comfortably set aside a year of your life.
Sure thing. Yeah.
It will just go, and the first three go down like a summer breeze,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And then you're stuck
Right.
because it's hell on earth,
Sure.
but you have to know what happens.
Okay. Sure.
Well, that stupid man tangents.
Yeah. Man loves
He
a big book.
tangents until the end of time. And then when you get to the fucking end of it, he gives you three different endings
Oh,
and he
super.
says, pick whatever one you like.
Yeah. Sure. Why not? You know?
No! You're gonna make me read 7,000 words of bullshit. You have to give me an. Welcome to the Emo Dad podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna Matt. Do you want to introduce our lovely lads?
Yeah,
And I'm
let's
done now. I've done my bit now. I'm done.
put James on mute. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for
This
having us.
this
Letting
is
us join
cool.
you. This is
We've got-
exciting.
We've got quite a niche episode here. We've already kind of prepped the listeners about what we're going to be talking about later, which I assume you also know what that's going to be.
Let's find out.
But first of all, if it's okay, well, firstly, actually, how much time have we got with you guys? Because we never like to take too much time off people if they've got better things to be doing. Does anyone need to be anywhere desperately?
Not really.
No?
No,
Nah.
not particularly.
Chilling.
Excellent. 3-hour episode
I was
incoming.
gonna say,
Right.
massive regrets incoming for you lot.
So to start then, if we may, can I get you guys to kind of introduce yourselves one by one so that the listeners kind of can put a voice to the band member? And while you're doing that, maybe give us your earliest memory of music to put you on the spot. So I'll let you guys argue amongst yourselves over who goes first.
Super cool question. I will go first, everyone.
Okay.
My name's Patty. I sing in the band As It Is. For earliest memory of music, my goodness. So my dad has been taking me to gigs for as long as I can remember. I'm American, but we grew up in the UK, and one of the first gigs the first gig I remember him taking me to was Brian Setzer from the Stray Cats at a London venue. Can't remember. And we went out to dinner before the show, and through overhearing the table next to us and them overhearing us, we realized that they were also going to the gig, but that is because they were doing front of house for the show.
Okay.
And because we were really little, my sister even younger than me, but I couldn't have been older than 7, maybe 8, maybe 9 at the oldest. They asked if we wanted to watch the show from front of house. And I don't remember this, but my dad tells this story that I so often that I basically remember this. I pointed at Brian Setzer playing the guitar saying, I want to do that.
I want to do that.
So, and now I get to, and that is cool. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Nice.
Cool.
Who
I'll
wants
go
to-
next. I have
Go
one.
on.
Hi, I'm Ben. I play guitar in As It Is. I think, my earliest memories of like music is just my dad having David Bowie albums in the house and Eurythmics records in the house that would be played all the time. But my distinct memory of like getting into music myself is being on the bus, and I was listening to something on my Walkman, and a kid tapped me on the back of the school bus, and he gave me the first take. This must have been like 2002. I was maybe like 12 years old. And he tapped me on the back, and he just gave me that first Taking Back Sunday album, and he went, "You'll never look back." And I never really did, and that was kind of my introduction to like this world and this scene, and discovering like my own music taste from that. So yeah, that's kind of my introduction to that. But and then that consumed my world. And then as I got older, it was a lot of revisiting all the stuff that my dad liked. And now I'm like, oh, this is like some of the best stuff in the world. So
Yep.
You rebel against it all your adolescence.
until you turn into it.
Mom and dad's paste, and then you turn into it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ali. I play bass in As It Is. Some of my earliest music memories is like being in the car with my parents, and I only had a tape deck at the time, so this is how old this is.
Nice.
And we had like Queen records and stuff, and like they used to just get so chewed up, you'd have to like, wind them on with a pencil and things like that. But then when I got to like secondary school, like when I'm like 11 or 12, making friends with new people that I've never met before, and my friend Paris, who's got older brothers and sisters, came up to me with his Walkman and was like, check this out. And it was Californication album by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and obviously like that first kind of like bass thing from all around the world. Oh, I was like, because before that it was like sort of older rock, and then just like radio pop, and then I was like, what is this? And then like we went on to form bands at school, and sort of like that's what got me into like playing music. So yeah, thanks, Paris.
Nice. Go on, James.
Amazing. That's mentioning forming bands. That moves us on to the next question. So you guys are the three we've got today. You are original members of this band, correct?
Ali
Or
is
if we-
basically an original member.
Yeah.
He joined a year and a half, at most 2 years after we formed, but we were still playing local shows then. So he's
As good as.
the real deal. Yeah. for
Ali's
sure.
been on every album we've ever done, and
That's what we figured.
every tour as well. Ali was on our first ever tour, so no, we essentially count ourselves as all
Honorary.
original members.
Nice. Did you? And so, who met who first? Was it Patty and Ben you met first?
That's correct. Yeah,
We
Ben
went
and I
to uni.
uni together. We went to Brighton
Nice.
Uni together. We found our drummer Foley through a website called joinmyband.co.uk.
I remember it.
Yeah, and we just had similar taste in things, and he's an incredible drummer. And then along the way, we met Ali Testo, and the rest is history.
Amazing. A question we love to ask people on this podcast
Cool.
is, what was the name of your first band? Because it's always awesome.
I had, well, the name of my first ever band in school, I think
Yeah.
my first school band, and you can tell who we were ripping off here, which is ironic because I'm really not a big Scar fan, but I'm guessing someone else, guessing someone else
All
picked
roads.
the name. But our first band name was Just Like Jason.
That's quite strong. I'm all right with that.
Yeah,
okay.
I
Just
don't-
like, yeah.
I don't know what it means. And then my second band, which was like kind of we were a thrash metal band in school. That was kind of
Spectacular.
I know. We were called
Yeah.
we were called Kingdom of the Sky. So
Again,
Oh.
not
Yeah, those aren't
not
terrible.
too- those are not terrible at all.
Better than the name of your current band.
yeah. Yeah, I think arguably one of the worse answer would have been what was a potential name for As It Is.
Oh yeah,
in
go on.
which was boars, but spelt like the animal, like a boar, because we thought it would be really clever to be like a play on words of being boring, but it's the animal boars, but they're boars, like they're boring. So really glad we didn't go with that one.
Imagine explaining that in every interview like this
Yeah.
for the rest of time. Strong.
Yeah.
Patty, I feel like you have a good, strong first band.
Yeah, the name of the first band that I was in, we weren't really writing originals, so it barely counts, but we
Sure.
were called Spunky, which is
Spunky.
But then the name of the band, the first band that like wrote originals was called Further to Summer because we were big into emo.
I was going to
Together
say
and
that sounds like an emo
all that.
band to
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Hawthorne Heights, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Incredible work, Ali.
Yeah, our first, as aforementioned Paris, and then my friend Ross at school, we formed a band, and we called ourselves The Final Problem after a Sherlock Holmes story.
Strong.
Right. That's the
Yeah.
one with Moriarty where he goes over the fall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but yeah, it's not that strong, and it kind of yeah, it's kind of like hard to do any sort of branding with it. So I think we tried.
Yeah, that is true.
Probably
That is
probably
true.
toyed
Yeah,
with
yeah.
toyed with a couple of others, but that was the main one that I remember us kind of performing under. So yeah.
Incredible work. You should all be proud of yourselves. As regular listeners will know this podcast, my first band was called Circle, spelt with an S.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
watch out. All of it, like that would have been like proper like grunge. It was grunge, let's be
Was it
honest.
grunge?
It was
Okay,
it was
cool.
it was so grunge.
It's
Yeah.
one of those things again where you can't just say circles. You have to go, it's circles
With an S.
spelt with an
Yeah.
S.
Yeah,
and you have to
facts.
explain it as you
Right.
say the band name.
Yes, you do. So you may as well make the whole thing the name. Like that would have been a better name. Would have been Circle spelt with an S. Really good for SEO, lads.
Yeah.
That one.
Hey,
Really,
we're
really
called
good.
As It Is. For the first few years, SEO was awful. You
I
could
was
not
gonna
search our
say.
band name. Three little
Right.
words that barely register when the search console often avoids those words and it just does the main words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Because you were probably just in that period where you had a lot of misspellings in band names to
hmm
try and like get a bit of around that, right? When you had the Pavaris of it all,
Everyone
and
was putting V's. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Landmarks, I believe,
Yes.
Yes.
the French lads with the IKEA platform they stand on. Good times, lads. That's a joke that I shouldn't have brought up right here, right now. It requires too much explanation. Basically, we went to see them. The singer was standing on a very small stool, and I got really close and took a photograph of it, Google image search, and it turns out it's just a little IKEA table that they put sheet metal around.
Love it.
Well done, lads. Really enjoyed it.
Oh.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Matt's giving me that look.
I'm going to do that for our ego risers from now on. I'll be
100%.
popping down to IKEA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm back on it. Back on track. So you go out and you start touring as a band over that sort of 2014. Wikipedia says you got a large response. Is that accurate, or
A
is that
large
Wikipedia?
response?
That is the phrase.
Not a good response, just a
There are
large
No,
one.
just
big one.
large,
Quite a few
right?
factual
Just size.
incorrectities about
not
the
co-
Wikipedia page. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd say the response was bigger than we expected. I think
Nice.
the first show of our first tour was in Glasgow, and we'd never played north of London before.
Okay.
And we turned up there, and I mean, there were maybe like 60, 70 people there, but to us, like we'd be lucky if we played to 10 people down at Sticky Mike's in Brighton. So, that was we basically sold out of a lot. We took the amount of merch we basically sold out of it on the first night because we thought we wouldn't need any more than that because who's going to come and see us? So I'd say it was bigger than expected, but still quite small on the scale of it. It was still like a small tour. But I mean, ultimately, it did lead to good things, and shortly after that, we got approached by our manager and stuff, and got signed. So yeah, it was. I mean, it was still very early days of social media as well. Instagram was new. We were
just launched,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 2000 and we were very new to all to the socials, and
Right.
Spotify wasn't even really a thing. It was all just putting your EPs on Bandcamp and stuff. And yeah, well, I mean, we're really grateful for how that tour went and what it led to. So
This is right, because then within a year you're on the Warp Tour, right? And you're kind of really expand things again. So this is 2015. We were looking through looking through this, and we found the
God.
lineup of the kickoff for the Warp Tour,
yeah,
which I think wonderfully puts into perspective how confused musically we were in 2015.
Sure.
Because you've got firstly kick off at Club Nokia, good times.
R.I.P.
Blast-
Nokia's.
Right.
Yeah.
For
And they've gone into
starters.
liquidation. I don't even think the company exists anymore. It's mad.
No, I think Windows buy 'em or something. Anyway, yes, that thing. In Los Angeles, featuring performances by As It Is, top build. Well done, gentlemen. Bebe Rexha is next on the bill.
Yeah.
Soon to be multi-bajillion selling
know.
pop star.
Well, I think at that point she'd been she'd had some writing credits on some big tunes, right? So
That Rihanna and
Mon-
Eminem song.
yeah,
That's
Monster.
correct. Yeah.
That was
Right,
one of
so
her
that had
songs that got
She was playing that on the Warped Tour that summer. She did her own version of that on that summer.
Interesting, because we had seen her at an industry showcase when she had a band with Pete Wentz for 5 minutes,
Oh yeah, I remember
which I
that.
think was just before that. So she was
Right.
in this kind of like finding her feet, I think.
Mm.
You've then got New Year's Day,
Mm-hmm.
Knuckle Puck,
Mm.
Metro Station.
Oh,
Should
oh,
should
yeah.
I know Metro Station? Matt, should I know
Shake it
Metro
Yeah, they're
off.
Station?
massive.
They're massive. I should know
Well,
Metro Station.
well, one
Look,
song was.
look up Metro Station.
They had
Candy
one
Hearts.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah,
I loved
quite
Candy
the
Hearts back then. Yeah.
yeah, quite the broad. Did it feel like you were? Did it feel confused, or did it feel like you were offering something different? I guess is what I'm going on. That's just what I'm asking at that time.
I guess for me, like Warped Tour is just generally quite diverse, and I
Right.
think when we've been there, the first year we did it, there was like a hip hop stage. There was really no genre barriers by that
Mm.
point of Warped. I know it, and I don't think there ever was. Like Eminem played it in '99, and Katy Perry's
Right.
played it and stuff. So I think it's always been quite eclectic. I don't know, like when you were going as a kid, Patty, like what what it was like, whether it was more quite specifically the scene in those kind of
I don't know, right? Because
2005 eras.
like Kevin and the Warped Tour were always really smart and really clever about where the taste was heading and stuff with like the shift to MySpace and YouTube and all that stuff. So bands like 303 and the Millionaires and Broken Side and stuff. I swear they all did like Warped Tour and things. But you're right. Like I went and visited a friend in Montreal, and waiting for 4 Years Strong, we watched Katy Perry. So it's always been super eclectic. Like, yeah. And it was the year that we did it too. But I think, as a pop punk band, I mean, it's kind of got roots in punk, skate punk, pop punk predominantly. And then obviously, yeah, it sort of goes a little emo, a little screamo, but there's also a little hip hop and a little pop and stuff. I think was there like a DJ tent or a comedy tent when we did it or
Mhm.
something? There was
Yeah,
like
it was like the Beatport tent.
So
The,
there was always always something wild going on. Was it 2018 that we did it with Riff Raff?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that was actually 2015 as well, but
Was
I can't
it?
remember. Was it?
I
Yeah.
don't remember, yeah. But yeah, wild
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Wild times.
I think for me, like thinking back to that, like the launch party for that and stuff, it's like we were just so new to all of that that I didn't necessarily register that there was like potentially like just so many different styles of band on the bill. I was just like, oh, this is just what happens, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Because yeah, like you said, when would that have been? Like
That was like April
April,
2015.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we would just have probably finished that Glamour Kills tour,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been our first US tour, and probably already our fourth tour ever, maybe maybe
Something
not
like
quite
that.
And so like yeah, it was all still very new, and like obviously we've kind of it's gone a bit of a step up in terms of like it's Warped Tour. So
Right.
yeah, I was just very wide-eyed and kind of trying to soak it all in.
And I think for us as well, like we even in just that like 4 tour stretch from the beginning of the year, like 2015, we did a tour, we did Save Your Breath's farewell tour, so like a UK pop punk band, we did their tour. Then we went out with Set It Off for a bit more of a like theatrical emo pop kind of band. And then we did that show. And then we went out with like Silverstein, who are just like
Mm,
post-hardcore legends. So like
mm.
we also were we always love playing like different genre bills and playing with different kind of areas within in the scene. So yeah, we just love playing with kind of anyone and anything, really, like not putting a limit on that.
Yeah. Well, I think our music tastes are quite wide as well, so it's just cool being able to tour with people who we're fans of. Um, it's always great.
Yeah.
Are there any gigs or tours that you've done where it's like wildly different who you're playing with, and there's almost that element of like this could go either way?
I think, well, for me, I kind of remember the Sum 41 tour as that tour because
Yeah.
we had were we like in the process of releasing OK, I think at that point?
Yeah, we had a couple of singles out from that album, I
Yeah,
think.
which were like super on the poppy side of things. And it was Senses Fail and Sum 41. and we kind of like did a whole world building thing where it was like the 50s, and we kind of like got into it with the way we dressed on stage and stuff. So going out in front of a Sum 41 and Senses Fail crowd, kind of like that, was a bit intimidating. But
Mm.
actually, the further we got into the tour, a lot of people, and actually still, and since then, a lot of people have sort of came up to us after the show and were like, I really enjoyed that. And people have come back to our headliners subsequently saying that they've found us on that tour. Um, so
Yeah.
it did its thing. But yeah, the first sort of few shows of that were, well, for me, a little bit intimidating in terms of like, yeah, the crowd have come to see who they've come to see, and it's not
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Me and James talk about this quite a lot in that we are now preferring tours, where there's a bit of an eclectic mix of bands and artists on. Because you go to some tours, let's be honest, and it's like four of the same band.
Hmm.
So, so it is
Yeah.
nice, I think, to have that kind of mix, and I think people are open most of the time to kind of hearing different types of bands.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like we're it feels like with streaming we're more in a like post-genre world, whereas,
Mm,
20 years ago metal and hardcore didn't even like bleed into the same
yeah,
world or community in any way. You really had to pick a genre and a lane and a community and things. Whereas you're right, like now we're a lot less close-minded to genres and niches and things like that. And I think that's a good
Mm.
thing.
yeah, for sure. Um, Fast forwarded a little bit. So, 2018, I believe, the Great Depression came out. This was a huge, huge success, right? Um, how was the kind of vibe in the band? You're laughing.
Why
Why
are
are you
you
laughing?
It's
laughing?
funny. It's funny because I think we started navigating this about 2 years ago when the band was sort of coming back and everybody, um, I don't know, maybe externally everybody remembers it like a little bit differently. And it's not saying that like the records sort of underachieved in any way, but I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, it was like the beginning of the wheels coming off and stuff. So it was like a
Okay.
really turbulent time like in the band and stuff. And
Yeah.
we came back and we won this like rock sound icon award, and we're like, I don't know, it felt like a little different at the time.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we were kind of like all uh, in a sort of insular way. We were kind of like in our own little bubble of maybe not things going as great as they could have done. And so, yeah, externally, it kind of seemed like this. Well, yeah, well, it was this,
Yeah, look good.
great success, great album. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and we were
like,
so proud of it, and I think in most ways you measure it, it was probably the band's biggest record, and we are still really really proud of it. We did it with
yeah,
Machine in
mm,
Texas. It was crazy. It was just like the dream, like creating a record with a really eccentric, wild, wacky producer. He was so much fun, and he's still just somebody who we just FaceTime from time to time, be like, "Yo, Machine, what's up?" It's really cool that we're just still kind of friends with him like that.
But yeah, I mean, on paper, they were our biggest shows that we did and stuff. We, headlined the Forum, and um, so yeah, on paper, um, it does kind of look like that. It's just funny I think it's funny to us, and like Patty alluded to it, like when we came back, it was or there's almost this kind of perception that everything was bigger than it was, or
Right.
not necessarily bigger than it was, bigger than it felt to us because you just can't see it when you're so close to it and in it.
Hmm.
To us, it was just still grinding out 200 shows a year, and a lot of them, as much as we did some of those like really big 2000 cap headline shows, there were a lot of smaller club shows still grinding it out in different countries and different territories and stuff. So I think it's only we're still taking the time to process. We actually did a video the other day, like a drunk history video, of the band where we were talking about all these stories, and it's only really when we do that and we kind of reminisce that we actually can kind of like actually take in, oh wow, we did that. That was actually pretty cool, even though at the time we might have had our own internal distractions from it all.
And like the band sort of fell apart or split up, and then we got back together, and I think we sort of have like a newfound and a more accurate perspective on things. I don't think you can ever overestimate how insecure bands and artists and musicians can be, right? Like what's actually going on and the sort of internal perception and
Mm.
insecurities there can be a huge amount of dissonance there. Um, but yeah, so but yeah, no, Ben was right. It was really cool to reminisce like that and be like, oh yeah, we did do quite a lot in the 10 or 12 years that we've been doing this.
So do you look on that? You're talking about kind of reminiscing and stuff, and it was, interesting your reaction when I brought it up. Do you look on that period now with more affection, with a bit of time and space, or do you still feel those kind of emotions of the turbulence in the band?
Uh, I
Both.
think, yeah,
It's going to be a
I
therapy session now.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think for the most part, like there's a lot of it that we just kind of laugh about it now,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
we've been through the trauma and now we can just kind of go, kind of just laugh about it. And that's whether that alludes to a darker sense of humor about stuff. But yeah, it's there's not really any like touchy subjects or anything between us or anything. We really are at a point where we look back and well, I mean, it'll be in the drunk history. There's a story towards the end where me and Foley like literally were getting in fights and like in Germany and stuff, and that was we weren't necessarily we look back at it going we weren't even angry at each other. We were just angry at the situation, and now we
yeah,
just laugh about how stupid that whole thing was. And I think it's very much we're at that point of it all now. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, from my point of view, I've never been in a band, can't sing or do shit for as far as music's concerned. However, we have spoken to a lot of musicians on this podcast, and correct me if I'm wrong, touring and pushing your band and constantly promoting is really fucking hard and grinds you down.
it certainly
Yeah.
can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like the way we did it. I think it was a case of, we said back then, and this is something we've learned
Mm-hmm.
for the future, is like we said yes to everything. Like
Mm,
and then we'd end up doing just shy of like 200 shows a year and barely be at home. And just because, well, what if that band never offers you a tour again? Or
yeah,
what if, for whatever reason, you don't get to do that again? So we said yes to things, even in there were times where we've been like, right, let's take a break here for like 2 months. It's not even asking like a lot. And then a tour would come up and we'd be like, well, we have to do it.
yeah.
So we have a much more respect, I think, for just ourselves as
Hmm.
humans and friends and our lives now, and know where everyone's kind of boundaries are, and
Sure.
don't push ourselves over that limit anymore
Yeah,
to just protect the longevity, really. So
yeah, for sure. Um, and during that wonderful time for the band, there there was quite a clear shift, I think, is be fair to say, in how the band looked and sounded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite interested in this. Um, was this like a conscious decision, or was it something that happened organically?
Um, I think it was more organic than conscious. I think like uh the biggest influences on the band um have been bands sort of like Fall Out Boy and Paramore and My Chem, bands that really change from record to record and that speak
Yep.
both to like musically and aesthetically. We've never been a band that like wanted to write the same record twice or even a super similar record twice. It's just fun to try new things, and we were speaking to sort of how close-minded the sort of like alternative um music listener can be at times. I think I've been guilty of that, and if a band deviated from a sound I liked, I'd accuse them, I think that they'd sold out or whatever, or it wasn't for me, whatever it may be. But we were really fortunate to have fans that were quite open-minded to when we wanted to sound poppier and heavier on the same record and then explore one of those sounds more than the other and then sort of gravitate the other way. We were yeah, it was kind of celebrated when we got to play around and experiment, and I think we all feel really, really lucky for that. Um, but yeah, nobody but like us was telling us to dress the way we dressed or sound the way that we sounded or choose the producer that we did or aim for tours with these bands or
Hmm.
festivals and where we'd be on them and things. I think the only thing that's changed is like we're not thinking as far ahead with the new music. It's just about what do we want to write? Like, what do we like playing? What would we be proud to have written? What would we enjoy listening to? These four people with very different tastes in music. Where do we sort of meet in the middle? And it's not about like the tours we hope we get or what people think about this record 10 years from now. It's just do we like it? And that's kind of enough. And it's a self-titled record too, so it's kind of embracing the sentiment of if we turn up, if we're just ourselves, if we're proud of it, then it's an as it is song. And
Hmm.
it hasn't always been that simple. Sometimes it has been about ambition over what just happens. But it has always sort of come from us, and it's just sort of come from pushing ourselves as much as we can, sort of artistically, and to try to be the biggest band that's still authentic to who we are. And now we're just sort of like, let's just have fun. Let's just
Yeah.
write some songs and have a good
Uh,
time.
I think you two, Ben and Patty, had it was quite a sort of a big concept for the Great Depression, right? There was the poet, and there was a sort of through line throughout the whole thing, which is sort of very much which was great. It was cool. It was good to dive into that world. But like this record that we've just made is very much just like as Patty said, like what comes out is what comes out, and just sort of see what happens when the four of us kind of hit record. And it's been a really like fun process this last few weeks of like yeah, getting the record together and just sort of playing. And that's kind of like the thing that I've felt the last few weeks is just like it's been very much like playing,
Mhm.
like kind of being almost like kids again. It's like, oh, what happens if
Hmm.
you do this, or kind of being a bit uninhibited with it. And I've really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah. And speaking to like the image as well, I remember it was either you, Ali, or Foley before the tour that we did in September, like putting in the group chat being like, what does everyone want us to wear on stage? And for the first time just being like, everyone just wear what they're comfortable wearing.
Yeah, not your own
Like
clothes.
and
Yeah.
the irony of it is like maybe we've just got better with our fashion over the past 10 years, but the irony of just being like wear whatever you feel comfortable in and not like trying so hard to like be cohesive as I think in most of our new promos resulted in us looking like the most cohesive band that we ever have for
Mm.
four people that are actually really quite different and dress very differently and have different tastes and stuff. So yeah.
You weren't tempted to tell one of the band members that we're going to go for like a 1920s look for this, and then the rest of you guys turn up in your normal clothes.
Yeah.
Like yeah, when you turn up at school mufti day in your school uniform,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. Yep. Still dream about
Oh, I had it happen once. It was the
that.
worst day. It was horrendous. So you never live that down at school. No.
I,
Especially not as a ginger child.
I've got this mad little thing in the notes here which James found, so I really hope this is true, otherwise I'm going to look a bit silly. But apparently, at your Kentish Town Forum show in 2018, there was an unofficial world record for the most crowd surfers during an hour-long set. Is that
At that
true?
venue, at that venue,
Oh, okay.
at that
A world
time, yeah.
record at the forum.
At the forum, yeah. Yes, the security team did come up to our tour manager or whatever, and they'd counted everyone coming over, and
Whose
we'd
job was
broken
it
the
to
record.
count?
It's mad. There must have been someone with a clicker, just
Mm.
whose job was to just stand there counting them coming over.
You've
But
hit your quota of crowd surfers, guys. Can you cut the set?
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a thing that happened. I think a band has broken it since. Uh, but yeah, at the time, allegedly we broke that. So
Easy come, easy go.
And on that note, I'm
Um,
going to hand over to James.
so that's really interesting. You're talking about writing records because I was going back and reading some of the interviews you had done when each record came out, because that's what pops up when you search it.
Mhm.
And I was reading about the sort of the pandemic recording experience
Yeah.
and how it's strange, I think, being almost 6 years now beyond that time
Mm.
period,
Yes.
and then looking back at it and realizing what a life-changing experience that was for a lot of us at the time. Didn't know what was going to happen. Had this being on Zoom, trying to figure out how to interact or how to be creative. During looking, did that? What's my question? Looking back on it, how was that experience? Because it sounded quite difficult from reading the interviews. And how does that compare to how you wrote the new record?
Yeah, more so than recording a record over Zoom and Dropbox. Trying to write a song over Zoom and Dropbox is quite challenging.
Right.
Our producer was in California, so we weren't even operating from the same time zone. So it was all kind of weird. The thing I enjoyed most is as a vocalist, I sometimes a producer will say, "We've got it, you've nailed it," and I don't feel like I have. And that was the record where I could sing a line 30 times and I wasn't wasting anybody's time except my own. So that was kind of fun to be self-indulgent in that way. Um, but yeah, it's I mean, as far as comparing the two, they couldn't be more dissimilar in terms of how we've written them. These have been sort of everybody
Interesting.
involved as much as possible. And I thought about this earlier, which is sort of, we started learning to play our instruments in either the late 90s or the early 2000s and things. So it sort of mostly predates like DAWs, like Pro Tools and Logic and stuff.
Okay.
So the way we all learned to write a song was to play in a room, to play with the
Right.
musicians in the room with you, and that's fun. And what Ali said about like this feels like playing, this has felt like fun again because we got from the second record onwards, we got really used to and comfortable with writing a song around a computer, whereas the first record
Right.
and some of the second record we wrote together, just standing in a circle, making eye contact with each other and just vibing off each other's like cues and what about this, and when you say what about this, it means you try the whole song again and all this sort of stuff, and that's felt really fun to reconnect with because it's kind of that childlike love that you sort of develop with being in a band,
Mm.
just playing together and writing songs together. And that isn't to say that we haven't written songs like in the box, like around a laptop, because that is
Sure.
true. But it's so much more felt like everybody has touched these songs more, shaped these songs more, and written these songs more. I feel like a piece of every member of the band is in every song, which hasn't been true of the past few records, I would say.
I think it's like that real-time interaction, right? That real-time feedback of
Right.
like, this has happened. I'm going to try and do this. Like, if Foley's done this on the drums, so I'm going to try this on the bass. And the way that kind of filters and subtly changes things. Um, yeah, you can't get that if you're not in a room together. Like even with this, when like we were tracking our individual instruments, we were still all in the room most of the time. So I'm feeding off of everybody else's energy. Like if I do something and someone goes, "Oh wow," you go, "All right, cool. That's let's get that down." And yeah, just kind of like I think it just brings the energy levels up when you're all together, basically, because it kind of does all feed off each other. So yeah, that compared to being on a Zoom call or sending files across the internet to try and be like, right, let me try and put something on this or whatever. It's kind of like it does suck a bit of, well, for me, it does suck a bit of like the joy out of it because the whole point of music really is interacting with other people for me. And so that's
Right.
like,
You play, right?
yeah.
It's in the West. As you say, it should be play. And that is hard to do when you're playing with yourself, if you don't mind my French.
Don't say
It
that,
doesn't
James.
quite look, it wait. was a good bit. It was working. It was more fun. It's like, look, dad jokes, isn't it? It's what we're emo dad. Um, so to that point, you then did something which I find fascinating. I love it when bands do this. Re-record your first record.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
me more.
Well, I think the initial idea was to re-record two, maybe three of the singles,
Interesting.
and we were like, oh, and maybe somebody guests on it.
Right.
And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger, more guests and more songs, and it just kind of became clear at one point that we had recorded about half the record, and there were more guests than not guests, and we just kept going, I guess. And I don't know, I just really love a project like that that sort of honors I've never I've always liked when bands sort of just like celebrate and embrace old records of theirs and old eras of theirs and stuff. So it
Me
felt
too.
right.
I
Sorry,
I
my
absolutely love it.
dog is just like trying to
No.
get herself
Let's see.
comfortable,
Can
and
we
she's like
see?
kicking my
Can we
laptop.
see that? Can we see her?
She's
Bless
a
her.
little. She's like on the couch that the laptop is on, but I mean, she's moving the thing.
Look at,
Like you're on the boat.
Yeah,
um,
I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, we recorded our
Good.
first record. It was super cool.
yeah. I think it was really cool to like the initial ideas was maybe get a few people that we toured with back in the day, or that were really close to that scene and that record. And then as it got bigger, we realized, oh wow, okay,
Oh,
someone's
sorry.
playing dial tones.
Sorry.
That scared the shit out
Was
of
that
me.
you, Buck?
No, it was
Um,
not. Definitely not me.
was the
It
original
It
one.
It
was
was the
me.
dog.
Not the X
Could you
version.
could you tell from just that little
Oh yeah,
little
they're
bit?
quite different. They're
Well,
quite.
that's a game we can play. We won't do.
Um, but I think the thing that's most special to me about that is just the variety of different artists that we managed to get on that we never thought we would. Like, bands and artists that influence the album, and then newer bands that apparently have told us that we've influenced them, which is still like a weird thing to say and hear from someone. So yeah, I think it's a really special record for that reason to just encompass, over 20 years of the scene and bands within the scene, all coming together to celebrate as it is.
Yeah.
Mental.
Well, I think reflecting on doing that record kind of goes back to kind of maybe what you were saying in the Great Depression question, where it's like, that was really and kind of doing that. Maybe we were kind of like more established than we thought we were, or maybe we
Interesting.
underestimated ourselves a bit. Kind of like consistently, we have that very particularly British, but also with each one of us is sort of very kind of like, sort of, I don't know. Oh yes, we're in a band and it's fine. But yeah, reflecting on that,
That was very Alan Partridge, Alan.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
good.
we're in a
I
band.
liked it.
But
Yeah, we, we, we
like,
could play some shows and things. It's
yeah,
it's nothing
but
to talk about.
kind of like that ambition to like kind of go and ask people who maybe we thought
Right.
would just turn around and say no, and them saying
Yeah.
yes. Kind of like, oh yeah, maybe we were as good as everyone said we were.
Because nice. There it is. That's the energy and the attitude we like. Now, so you're coming up with your list, and you're like, right, I wonder who would do it. Shall we ask Bebe Rexha? How do you do it? How do you start with like is it literally that you just all like just pile in with some big ideas, or do you approach a record label, a management company, and say who have you got who might want to do it? How
Uh,
does it? How does it? It was a bit.
I
How
think
does it
you
work?
slid into a number of people's DMs, didn't you,
it was
Ben?
mainly me
Was it
sliding into
that?
band members' DMs, or if I had their number
Yes.
from like Brown Sound from Sum 41. I hadn't spoken to him since like the tour. But
Right.
the reason that I text him, this is quite funny actually. The reason that I text him and was like, oh, maybe we could get Brown Sound to do a guitar solo, is because in my our manager, when I left the band in 2019, our manager on my last show, he gave me what we call was like the Ben Biss book, and it had loads of handwritten notes from kind of everyone that we'd toured with and
Oh, that's
everyone
lovely.
we'd worked with and stuff. And in it was a note from Brown Sound saying, "Call me if you ever." He signed it off with "Call me if you ever need anything." And I was like, do you know
Bless him.
what? I think I'm going to cash that one in.
Yeah.
Uh, so no, and I just hit him up, and yeah, and then like Hidden in Plain View, who, Patty's got the artwork tattooed on his leg. They're
Me
a
too.
big band for me and Patty, like growing up with the drive-through record scene and stuff.
Mm.
Um, we've never met them, we've never toured with them. I literally just was like, I didn't even tell you I was doing it, Patty. I was kind of doing it as a little surprise because I was like, if I can get Hidden in Plain View, this will be a cheeky little surprise. And I just slid into some DMs, and they came back and they were like, that sounds great. Like they'd heard of us, which again was mad. Um, so yeah, a lot of just asking around, and pretty much everyone we asked said yes. So
I like that though. Call if you ever need anything, call me. And it's like we don't want a guitar solo. We
we
need a
need.
guitar solo.
That's right. And it's also something wonderful about like guitarist to guitarist.
Yeah,
Bro, I need you.
yeah,
The tapping is not happening.
yeah. I can't do it.
I can't do a Mixolydian
I
into a Lydian.
I
It's not
can't
happening.
can't do what he does. So well, good, not that good by any
Yeah, right.
stretch of the imagination. So no.
Amazing.
So yeah, that was just really special how that came together, and we got to do a lot of them like in person, like with Mikey from Mallory Knox. Like we were like, well, they've just done their 10-year tour, and they were on the first Warp tour that we did. That's when we kind of first met them for the first time, and just that one's really special because it's got Roma and Mallory Knox, and that just immediately is just it's just 2015 in a time capsule, you know. So yeah, really, really proud of how that record came together. And it allowed us to bide our time whilst we spent more time working on new music while still
Right.
being active as well. So we were doing that and still writing in the background. So
Yeah, because I was wondering on the timeline on that. Amazing. So to bring us back to the present, big year for you lads, right? I was looking at got some big tours,
mhm,
records out July 17th, I believe my notes say.
That is correct. Yeah.
that's true.
Look at that, getting the plug in like a professional.
Yes.
How are you feeling? You excited? You must be
Yeah.
buzzing, no?
Yeah, buzzing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't wait to get that out, and we'll be on the Boys Like Girls tour when the album comes out. So we'll be,
Mm-hmm.
we play Brixton Academy the day after the album comes out. So it's
Mm-hmm.
everything's kind of a lot of what's happened since we've come back has felt very kismet and symbiotic and whatever. And this has just been another one of those things where we already had the album announced, and then we get this tour offer come through, and we're like, oh my God, they're around the same time. That would be such a good thing to like, be playing these new songs that I think are kind of belong on stages like that. If we're gonna kind of, how would you describe the new album? It's like they belong on the Brixton Academy stage. Is a good way to
Yeah,
describe
man.
the songs, I think. And we get to do that, which is really cool. So buzzing about that. We've got a bunch of festivals, which we're really excited about, and doing our first like proper long kind of week of record release in-store shows, doing some days like 2 sets a day. So yeah, busy year. And that's just up until summer. I don't
Yeah.
actually know what the rest of the year looks like, but I'm excited for whatever it does look like.
Yeah, and we're off to
Amazing.
Japan in 2 weeks. That's gonna be fun.
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
wait for that.
Right.
That'll be cool. Tokyo's
Right, I
sold out
saw
now, so that's
that.
gonna be sick.
Yeah, because we just interviewed a band called the Click Five, who were very big in Asia and
Sure.
in America.
So sort
And
of
they're
a
yeah,
little bit before, but during the early days of the band, I covered bands on YouTube, and their song "Just the Girl" by the Click Five was a song I covered on my YouTube channel. So I'm
Ah,
familiar.
I wondered about, yeah, because we were just talking about like Asia and that whole market and how exciting and how different it is over there. So yeah, that sounds really thrilling. And you've been before, right? This
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
Japan and yeah.
Yeah, this will be our fourth or fifth, your fifth time. You
Our
Uh,
guys have,
fifth, your fourth.
Office.
yeah. Yeah, I'm one behind. But
Nice.
yeah. Um, yeah, really, really excited to be back. We love going and yeah, like Patty said, Tokyo's sold out, which we weren't necessarily expecting this time around. It's been a while since we've been back and stuff, but the love is still there. So yeah, we love going over there.
Incredible. So, dear listeners, that ends the band portion of tonight's entertainment. We're now going to weirdly pivot to running because Matt Buck's, we are in the center of the Venn diagram of the Matt Buck influencing world, where running and pop punk collide in a glorious melange of content. And I know nothing, so I'm going to shut up. And I'm handing over to Matt for chat about
Running.
things I know
Running.
nothing about.
Pop punk and running. This is a moment that I've worked my whole life towards, guys. Honestly.
I am so happy for you.
So, you guys are running the Brighton Marathon. Is that correct?
That is
Correct.
correct.
Yeah.
If you ask
Correct, good.
why, we won't know. But you,
Oh, well,
you're
that was
welcome
going to be my
ask.
next question. Why
Don't
would you
know.
do such a thing?
Because
Well-
we got a little drunk on a phone call and a conversation got really out of hand, and we thought it would be a fun group activity to do together.
Yeah. Well,
Building,
so
baby.
so Patty, you did Brighton last year,
I did.
and I ran London Marathon last year.
Yeah.
And I think they were probably what, a week apart or 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, at most 2 weeks apart.
So yeah, and then we got on a call with the band got on a call, and we were sort of just chatting about how it had all gone. And I had just come out of that period where I was never doing a marathon again,
Yep.
into the bit where I'd signed up for actually I've signed up for Manchester, and then we all decided to do Brighton together. So rather foolishly, I will be doing 2 marathons in a week
Nice.
in April. But yeah, so we managed to, well, yeah, but Patty had also got through the never running a marathon again part of just having finished one. And
Sure
we
did.
managed
It's
to
a-
persuade the other
It's a funny
two.
one. It's a funny one because I was so delighted to have so much of my day back because the training takes up so many hours.
Yeah,
And
right.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to ask about this because it's called the Emo Dad podcast. Are you guys both parents? Do you both
Yep.
have kids? And if so, how do you manage disappearing for very, very long runs?
Well,
When I imagine you have less time than most people that I know.
for me, it's because I have kids, right? So, I mean, I'm not actually the best person to ask that question because I do it for a job, so I can get away with kind of saying to my wife, "I'm working."
Gotcha.
However, I coach a lot of people with busy lives, busy with kids and whatever, and the answer is not what you're gonna want to hear, but it's basically getting up really fucking early in the morning.
Right.
Is-
Which I
is
did
what
a few
needs to be done.
times, and every time I did, it wasn't easy, but I was so glad that I did, and it made the rest of my day better. And
Yes,
it was
you
that
get the
thing of like,
smugness, right?
I was like, oh, like it's gonna be great. I'm gonna have so much time back. But I also like kind of grieved and kind of missed like this thing that I was working towards and the structure that it just meant that I had to have. Otherwise, I was gonna fall off and sort of hurt my body and things. So I found myself really missing it, and I'm kind of glad it's back.
It's a
And then I'll
really
yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
interesting point you make, and it's something that we call the post-race blues.
Yeah,
And I'm going to make an effort uh, to keep linking this back to music. So what happens is obviously you have this massive focus in your life, and it doesn't have to be a marathon; it could be anything. And then suddenly that focus is totally taken away. And a lot of people they run marathons, and we'll come on to this more in a minute, for mental health reasons as well as physical reasons.
yeah.
And then when you suddenly get that focus sort of whipped away from you, i.e., you do the run, you do the race, it happens. Um, you're kind of left with this big hole in your life. And I was going to kind of just quickly ask you guys a question about, do you feel that when you're kind of writing an album? Because I imagine in a way it's kind of the same. You put all your energy and focus into writing an album or doing a tour, and then suddenly you're kind of back in your lounge, sort of twiddling your thumbs.
I
100%
I
yes.
felt
Yeah,
that
like
this week,
Yeah.
definitely.
walking away from a record,
You're in
the
that period
bond you
now.
have
Yeah.
with the producer and the art, the collection of songs. I felt the exact same thing when we were on the other side of we earlier, or sorry, last year did a music video for our first song back called Lose Your Way and Find Yourself. And I learned this choreographed dance and I started
Yeah.
eating differently and practicing and exercising more. And again, just like the focus, like working towards this project was so fulfilling. And when it was gone, I was like super sad about it, basically. And it's exactly true of the marathon, the big run and stuff. And we're running it together. All four of us are going to be running it together. And I imagine it's going to be incredibly cathartic and emotional. So on the other side of that, I think we'll probably
Yeah, I think it particularly a bit like with touring, like in touring, it's quite a big thing, like post-tour blues.
Yeah.
You get back to having had this. I think the what to kind of again like to kind of link, particularly mass participation events, marathons, other events. You're sort of have on tour. You have this shared experience with a group of people, and you're going through sort of this experience together, and then it happens, and you're sort of quietly sat in your living room, and you're like, oh, I wonder what that person's up to, or but with running, like when I did the marathon, or even when you do like a park, when you do the park run, having all of these people around you all doing the same thing, it kind of invigorates me. It sort of invigorates. I find that kind of like a positive feeling of like having that shared experience with a lot of other people, because it's like, oh yeah, other people do the same crazy things, they go through the same things. It's particularly like going back to touring, and running. Everyone's going through the same struggle, right? Everyone's trying to get to the same destination, trying to finish the run, finish the tour, and at various points in between starting the thing and finishing the thing, you've got to, ride the roller coaster,
Dig deep.
remember why you're doing it.
Yep.
And yeah, and then, having gone on that kind of journey, when you do kind of come to the end of it, you're like, oh, God, this will be, a bit emotionally exhausting as well as physically.
For sure. So are you guys planning to run together, as in actually be together for the whole run?
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
Yeah.
Are you all similar, like
No.
paces and stuff? No.
So-
Okay.
We'll just go at the slowest person's pace, so
Yeah,
that they're comfortable. It'll be a sort of no man left behind situation.
Nice.
We actually, the three of us, went for quite a long run the other day. It was Ben's longest run.
I was, yeah.
Nice.
And,
Longest run ever?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
good man.
I haven't done a marathon yet. I actually have. I think the reason that I wanted to do it and was so keen to sign up, even though I instantly regretted it, was I historically have quite a poor relationship with exercise and sport.
Yep.
I think I was very much, I was bullied by my PE teachers, and I kind of was very averse to sport and physical fitness as a result of that. And I would go and literally opt to hide out in the music department rather than and get detention than turn up at PE lessons. So I've never really liked exercising. And my new partner has been teaching me how to kind of detach like exercise that is for yourself from that experience.
Sure, yeah.
And it's a struggle because up until about 2 months ago, I literally couldn't even run a kilometer without wanting to stop. And yeah, I did my first 10K the other week with these
Nice.
two at I think quite a reasonable pace, to be
Yeah,
fair.
definitely, yeah.
And yeah, I I'm not necessarily at the point where I enjoy it when it's happening. I definitely do feel better in the days after when I have exercised.
Yep.
I've booked myself into a gym class tomorrow and I'm going to be going.
Oh,
And
nice.
I know, again, I really struggle when it's just myself, like to
Yeah, yeah,
motivate
yeah, yeah.
myself. So that's why when I've got the boys to
Book
go
into a
running with
group.
or
Yep.
go and it's a group and I've got some level of accountability because
Yep.
otherwise I'll just look outside and I go, oh, it's raining. I'm just going to stay in bed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I have a greyhound and that's what he would do. So yeah, but I think this has been really good for me to kind of really reevaluate my relationship with exercise, do something good about it. Because I mean, even last year, when we came back and I never used to struggle playing sets or anything, and we came back and we did the slam dunk sets, and I was like, oh my God, like I obviously used to be a little bit fitter, but now I'm, coming on for mid 30s and it's things aren't as easy and don't come just as naturally as I used to be able to hammer 10 beers and get up and play a show and then do it all over again every night and can't the body won't let me do that anymore. So I need to be a bit more prepped for that. So I think it's doing something good for myself for once. And also like the charity aspect of it as well is always a thing. I've worked in the charity sector for a number of years and I see all these people doing, all these events and
Yeah.
challenge events and running events. And I'd always be like, oh, it could never be me. And now it is me.
Here you are.
Here I
I,
am.
I I wanted to mention the charities. So you're raising funds for Mind. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
great charity.
Yeah.
Side note, I worked in charity for about 15 years, and James, am I allowed to say this, James? Yeah, I am. James still works in charity. So look, we are here
There
to
we go.
support you in
Yes.
every possible way. Um, so
Yes.
if I may ask, why did you decide to support Mind in particular?
It
Chance to plug the charity.
yeah, well, it immediately made sense. I think we've always been a band singing about mental health. It's been at the forefront of our lyrics always, even before the records, but with album
Hmm.
titles like Never Happy, Okay, The
Yeah,
Great Depression, there's a theme.
a theme.
There's a theme. And I think we all have a much better and more stable relationship with our mental health than we did when we were really doing the band thing all the time. And I think we're sort of only able to be doing this again because we've done so much work on our mental health. But like we've always advocated and raised awareness for mental health charities in the UK and in the US and all over the world. Like it means a lot to us. It really does. And I mean, politically, things are so bleak. They're so dystopian. People do need support, and Mind is there for people who need support. So, I mean, we're like incredibly proud to be raising funds for such a great charity, such a great cause. I think it's really needed, and we talk about our own mental health journeys, struggles, experiences, whatever you want to call them, and hopefully
Hmm.
that takes some of the stigma out of it. But you can only do so much when you're just some untrained idiot musician. These are the trained people. This is like this is the real deal, and we're raising money for the real deal, and really proud to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll make sure we put the link to your fundraising in the show notes so people listening can go and drop a pound or two if they can afford into that. That'd be really good. Um, so what's the plan with the training going forward? So I guess probably a good way to do this is if you've got any questions,
So I have quite a
feel
few.
free.
I have quite a few questions.
He gets his list out.
This is more just like a personal curiosity because it's
Yeah.
like alternative music and physical fitness and running marathons. They're not antithetical, but they don't often like bleed into the same like world and stuff. And emo even more so than pop punk. I'm curious which one came first for you and if you ever felt this sort of like High School Musical. I can only pick one of these things. I'm not fully accepted in either of these things. I'm curious which one you fell in love with first and what your journey's been like to be somebody who's like, yeah, I listen to alternative music. Yeah, I love running and run marathons and train people and things. I'm just really curious about that. And then we'll ask about how we can fucking not fall apart and
Not
break our
die.
knees.
That's a good question. Oh God, I've been put on the spot now. This is what it feels like to be interviewed.
I was just so
Um,
immediate. I was just so immediately curious because yeah,
mm,
it's sometimes they're opposites and they aren't, but we've decided they are, right?
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. What I will say before I answer your question properly is there isn't, I guess, probably with the help of social media, there is an increasing amount of very cool alternative people running these days, and it might be that we're all having midlife crisis. That's definitely a thing. But there's like really cool groups, like you might have heard of Running Punks,
Yeah.
who are a really cool group of people um, who do like over in Wales and the southwest, um, like guided group runs and things like that. Um, so I would say that running is becoming closer to that alternative world. For to answer your question, as far as I'm concerned, it was definitely music was my first passion. Um, I I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, listening, we were talking about Taking Back Sunday and going further back, listening to like Nirvana and all these bands, and lots of emo, like the Get Up Kids are a big
Mm.
band to me, and bands like that. And you're right. When I was younger, I would keep these two things apart, almost like it was like, don't let the runners know that I listen to emo music, and don't let the emo kids know that I run, because then none of them will like me. Turns out none of them really like me anyway, so it didn't really matter. But
That is not
Lose-lose.
true. That's absolutely not true.
but then I think for me personally, it became a thing of like, and maybe this came with age, like I don't give a shit anymore what people think. And
Mm.
like I've got tattooed like on my, I won't show you because that'll be weird, but on my arm I've got like the Get Up Kids robot and
Mhm.
like Deftones pony and all things like that. And so when I'm working and kind of taking people running and stuff like that, it's you kind of see people looking at your arm. I'm sure everyone's had this who's got tattoos, right? And you think,
Mhm.
oh God, they're going to ask me about they're going to ask me what the robot means, and then I'm going to have an awkward answer. Um, but then once in a blue moon, someone will go, oh, you like the Get Up Kids as you're running through a forest or something. Um, and then you find your people. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's a strange thing. But my that was a very long-winded way of me saying, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Just do you.
Do you exactly? And it took me, trust me, it took me a very long time to do me. And like when I was growing up, I had very low confidence in myself, and it was only when I started doing big ultra races in weird and wonderful places that I sort of built up the confidence to not care what people thought about me, whether that was from like aesthetically or through running or through music or whatever it might be. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a journey.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a hypothesis.
Oh no.
You might.
No,
I'll do it. I'll be quick. I'll be really
do it.
quick. I'll be really quick. I used to love running. I used to love running. Then I snapped my IT band and I'd stop. Do your stretches.
Mm.
Except Matt says don't do your stretches. He'll tell you about that in a minute. So I think there's something about punk rock and emo which is about discipline and rules to find safety. I think a lot of people find that music scene because they've had some really shit experiences and it's a safe space to be with other people who've had those experiences. But within those environments, there are some rules, right? You've got like straight edge,
Hmm.
these
Right.
things that can guide you through your life. If you look at like Gilmore Street rules, if you're familiar with that,
Mhm.
which is for listeners, is a venue, a co-op venue in Northern California that had rules, and it's where Green Day started, it's where
Yeah.
Rancid started, and they had some very specific rules, which, to be honest, I work in branding. I use Gilmore Street rules to write brand guidelines for charities.
Excellent. That's so cool.
That's
Because they're so good. It's like it's respect everybody, regardless of gender, religion, anything. It's wonderful. It's so clear and it's so good. And I think if you've been through a lot of shit, rules are great because they help you. They help you get through the day, figure shit out with rules. I think running and sports like that also require a discipline to do the training to do everything else. And I think people who, and also as a late diagnosed autistic person, figuring out how rules help with my anxiety and create safety. I think there is something about rules and discipline that figure out and like give you parameters to find safety in your life. Like you say, if I know what my day is going to look like, I've got some control back and I can figure the day out. And I think there's something about being part of the scene where you like, I know what the rules are, I know who my people are. If I
Yeah.
get when I was a kid, I went to the bus stop, I knew who I could stand next to who was
Right.
safe
Right.
because of what they were wearing. If
Yeah.
that kid's got a wallet chain, he's safe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and stand next to the kid with the wallet chain, and we can talk about skating, and it will be all right. I'm not going to stand next to the kid in the Ralph Lauren jumper because he'll probably punch me. That was the, you find these ways to get through life with your tribe,
Yeah.
and
Right.
and I think there's something in that with long distance running because it requires all of those other things to create a little world that you can be a part of with other people that has rules and creates safety.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
how I think there's a circle in the Venn
That sounds
diagram.
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And that's my end of my TED talk. So thanks everyone for coming. That was it. I'm out now. Thanks.
I'm curious about no stretching though before we forget about that
Yeah,
because I'm real bad for that.
yeah.
I most of the time I won't stretch before or after and it's not an intentional thing I do. It's just a thing I forget to do. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, this is a controversial one, and I'll probably upset some listeners, but um, the kind of nerds in the labs uh, discovered that stretching doesn't actually do very much
Sure.
for your body. Yes, it feels nice, and anyone shouting at me as they're probably running, listening to this podcast, um, if it feels nice and it makes you feel better, then do it. That's
It's
fine.
yeah. It's
However,
funny. It's funny
so
because it sounds like why I stopped doing vocal warm-ups as a vocalist because there's a thing when you are losing your voice called vocal rest, which is where you stop talking and you don't sing and you just rest as much as possible. And I was losing my voice more when I was warming up for 30 or more minutes before the show because you
mm,
warm up for 30 minutes and then you sing for an hour and 15 or something. But if you remove the extra 30 minutes that you're singing and warming up. And there's the VIP meet and greet before the show, and you try to meet people after the show, and you're always talking. If you can eliminate talking, straining, using your voice, I don't know, maybe my technique's gotten better as well, but I felt like when I stopped warming up, I wasn't losing my voice nearly as much. And I wonder if there's some similarity to that.
yeah, there's definitely probably some similarity there. So, um, it's it's important to warm up so that we'll come back to warm up in a minute because that's different stretching. But the traditional stretching that Ben, your PE teacher, that you hate them, that we're all
Hmm.
going to stick a middle finger up to,
Yeah, I hate them too. I hate you
made
too.
you probably do. That's bad, 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 bad. Don't do it, especially before you run. Um, there's kind
Okay.
of like, so when you're training for a marathon, there's kind of a list of things that you need to be doing, and they go down in importance. So number one, you won't be surprised to hear, is running. If you're training to run a marathon, then run.
Sure.
That's pretty
Yeah.
obvious.
Uh-huh.
And then we're getting into all the other things. So, and then stretching is down here at like number 15 or something. Um, I won't bore you with all 15. However, there's things that you can be doing which are much more important than stretching, i.e., Ben, you're doing well because you're going tomorrow. Strength work.
Right.
That is
Yeah.
much more important than stretching. So if you've only got 10, 20 minutes in a day to dedicate to helping you complete this marathon, and it's not going to be a run, do some strength work, do some, to keep it simple, some squats or some lunges.
Oh, there's a lot of squats in this class. I did it
There
last
you go.
time, and it was like 5 sets of that. You do 5 different exercises. One of them's like that running with that sled with a weight on
Oh
it,
wow, okay, nice. This is
pushing it,
proper
and
gym
then
work.
like squats where you throw a ball up to a target, like one of the
Yep.
medicine balls. And like honestly, after the first round of the 5 exercises, I felt sick. And then the guy was like, right, only 4 more rounds of it to go. And I was like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And I did do it. I was very proud of myself. I did manage to do it.
Nice.
And it's the same with, I've gone from 1, and then I was like, do a 5 and then do a 10. And I've only got 2 months to get myself from a 10K to a marathon. But I guess that's kind of my question, is like, what would your best advice be for getting from a 10 to a marathon in 2 months?
Right. Get your running kit on.
Yeah, right
It's time to
now.
go out. Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of what you got to be careful of is kind of going a bit too mad and hurting yourself. So you need kind of a structure. So if you've got 2 months, you need to, yes, there's not loads of time, but you need to build up as kind of slowly as is possible in that time. I haven't got a calendar in front of me, so I do the maths quickly in my head. But so you'd probably be looking on what we would call the long run, which is the longest run that you do in a week. Like increasing that by 2 or 3 kilometers. Are you working in kilometers or miles? Whatever.
Either or.
2 or 3 kilometers, 1 or 2 miles, each weekend. So
Okay.
you increase it ever so slightly and build it up very slowly. What you don't want to do is, you say you went for 10K, was it the other day?
Yeah.
So don't suddenly, at the weekend go, right, let's do 20K now and let's do 30K, because that's
Okay.
when you might hurt yourself. You might get away with it, but you might hurt yourself. So you want to build it up nice and slowly, so that you reduce that kind of risk of hurting yourself. Which, think about it this way: you're better to go into the marathon. I have to be careful when I tell people this, slightly undertrained than injured, right?
Yeah.
So you're better off kind of hitting, let's say, 30K in your training runs than hitting 40K, but your legs hanging off. So it's kind of because you haven't got a lot of time. And also you've got the complications of going to Japan and stuff like that, which,
Well, I'm quite looking forward to going for some runs in Japan, to
yeah,
be
it'd be
honest.
cool,
It's
right?
like a good way to see some places.
And they have these like crazy run tracks that go through the city and stuff. I've never been, so.
I reckon if we put a tweet out, someone would take us on a run.
Japan,
Maybe. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
There must be someone. There must be like someone in Japan who's a fan and also runs.
Oh, definitely.
I was also going to say for Ben, like, when we are doing the marathon, don't put too much pressure on yourself to like go quickly. Just just finishing it will be a massive achievement. So like,
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about like the time.
yeah. But like,
than-
if we do have to stop and walk for a bit, or
God forbid, play a show,
yeah,
Yeah.
Halfway round.
yeah, or,
which is being discussed. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, so this is a lesson from my not disastrous, because I did finish it, but I definitely let my ego get the best of me when I did my marathon, because I was like, right, I've trained really hard for this and I'm going to do it in a certain time. And then London Marathon last year was quite hot. It was like 22, 23 degrees. And so everybody was like, it's not a day to be going for times. And I was like, well, I've trained really hard. I'm going for a time. And then anyway, I hit mile 20 and I wanted to just step off the course and just go home. I hit the wall hard and it's just like, cramping. And I think if spectators hadn't been handing out like Haribo and Jelly Babies, I don't think I would have had the energy to finish. But that's another reason why I signed up for doing another one, is because I wanted to enjoy the whole experience. I wanted to cross the finish line and feel pleased about it. Whereas when I crossed the finish line in London, I was just like, just about ready just to cry and just be like,
Wanted to
okay.
vomit.
It was the legs. The legs were just totally gone, and like
Yeah.
that was so that was a question I wanted to ask you, is because well, there's a number of things that, like I said, I went for a time on a day where I shouldn't have been going for a time. It was too hot. I should
Hmm.
have just chilled out, enjoyed myself. But I wanted to ask you like some things around like maybe fueling for it,
Yeah, yeah.
because I messed that up as well. Obviously, I ran out. Uh, yeah, I thought I'd planned it. I was like, all right, I've got so many gels or whatever, and I'm gonna have one at these intervals. And
Hmm.
then I got to like the last bit of the race. I was like, oh no, I've run out. So I don't know if I dropped some or I don't know. I just hadn't planned properly. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
just
maybe
wanted.
and maybe we can
Go on.
bake into this answer something I'm curious about, which is the night before, what is the
Mm.
Yeah.
best thing we can do? Where the best things we
Okay.
can eat, how much sleep, how much time before the run starts do we wake up, things like that. What would you eat sort of on the morning of a marathon, things like that. Just take us through like, yeah, fueling basically starting
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
night before.
It's good question. So the sleep one we can tick off quickly, um, as much as you can get. Simple as that. As far as fueling, so the classic cliche that we all have in our minds is the night before marathon, we're tucking into a massive bowl of pasta, which is, as big as a table, and we're eating the whole thing, and then we're kind of set for a marathon. Don't do that. That's like even now, like people are still doing that, and it just like I'm just like, oh my God, because if you do that, you're going to turn up at the start line and just feel like shit.
Yeah,
Um,
like heavy. Yeah, for sure.
exactly. So, yes, you can do your kind of classic pasta meal, but do it two nights before. So marathon, I assume, is on Sunday. I think is on
Yeah.
Sunday.
It will be, yeah.
So on the Friday night, tuck into your pasta, and then just a normal kind of meal on the Saturday. So you don't have to go crazy, nothing, nothing silly or anything. Probably advise like avoiding like a spicy curry or something like that. So something safe, and then you'll be totally fine. And then lots of water, in the days leading up to the marathon as well. And then when you wake up in the morning, you want, and this is for your training runs as well, for your longer runs, you want to have a good breakfast. A lot of people go out without having any breakfast, which is fine if you're doing a shorter run, like during the week or something. But if you're doing like a 30K, you're going to struggle. So porridge is really good, toast is really good, banana, peanut butter. Um, Again, doesn't have to be anything crazy, but something along those lines, and you'll be good as gold. Um, how long before you kind of run do you want to eat? Kind of depends on you as a person and what you can tolerate. Like for me, because I do this all the time, I could literally eat a whole bowl of porridge and go 2 minutes later, but that doesn't work for a lot of people. So I would say like an hour before or something like that. So, and make sure on race day you've got all your kit ready and you know where you're going and all that kind of boring logistics stuff. Um, and then as far as the actual run is concerned, the race and the longer training runs. So the ideal for food intake is every half an hour. So I don't know if Ali, if you remember what you did, but you want to be aiming for every half an hour.
Yeah, it was roughly that, and it was like that, or I don't know if I was doing it on a sort of distance basis, but like it was like every 5K or so,
5K, yeah, yeah.
which was about half an hour.
Yep. Perfect.
Um, so yeah, I did do that, but yeah, I think I just either miscounted when I tucked everything in, or dropped one when I was pulling one out or something. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got towards the end of it and the wheels came off.
The wheels came off, yeah. So generally the wheels will come off or hit the wall as people like to call it. There's a couple of reasons, a few reasons. One, you haven't trained enough, which only you will know the answer to that.
Mm.
Two, you haven't fueled properly, and three, you haven't hydrated enough.
I probably ticked two out of those
Two
three.
out of the three, so you get cramp, right? So if you can kind of, train the best you can, fuel well, and drink well on the day. I appreciate sometimes it's crazy hot or something, which adds
Mm.
extra complications. but you'll probably be okay. Yes, it will get harder. It will always get harder, but
Mm.
you hopefully avoid kind of too much drama towards the end of the run. Um, one, without going too technical, one thing that I would also encourage is to have salt tablets.
Mm.
They're really helpful and they'll stop kind of cramps and things like that. So going back to the answer the question, something every half an hour, drinking like as every kind of aid station, just having a little mouthful of
Mm.
water or electrolyte or whatever they've got going, and that'll see you through the run. So you want to be practicing doing that in your training sessions as
Mm.
well, because you're not just training your legs, but you're training your whole body, your stomach, and everything else to get used to that.
Hmm. That is quite
Huh.
interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. Salt tablets. I hadn't thought about. Yeah. Guess you.
So
You
this
told
is
me,
probably
Buck, you told me once pork pies.
pork
Oh, yeah.
pies. Yes, pork pies
I
are
remember
great.
this strongly.
Yeah,
You
pork
telling me
pies.
gels are bullshit and eat pork pies.
I'll have a pork. I'll
That
stuff
was
my
what I
pockets full
was
of pork
told.
pies.
Yeah, that
And
is
I
more a trail running thing.
Mm. Well, I was going to ask you about this as well because you mentioned
what?
ultras earlier,
Mm.
and I do have half a mind to try and continue past marathon distance, like either later on in this year or into next year.
hmm
For example, potentially foolishly, me and my brother-in-law signed up. There's a run called Peak Divide. So I live in Sheffield. And so there's an organised event that runs from Sheffield to Manchester over the
Yep.
peaks,
Yep. Nice.
72 kilometres. Um,
Perfect.
the day we the day we did it, there was quite a bad storm, so they only did it halfway because beyond that point was a bit remote, and they just safety thing. So anyway, the halfway point was 22 miles, and I'm actually glad that it was only halfway because I would probably not have completed it. But
Mm.
I want to go back and do it properly. So once you get past like sort of marathon training, is it just a matter of like just spending time on your feet, not going quickly, but just like getting used to being out for longer periods of time, if that's what you want, if that's what you're inclined to do, and just kind of
Yeah.
like building up the hours that you're able to keep, just kind of do that for.
So if you're going into kind of doing ultra distance races, it's changing your mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Because you need to hold back a lot
Mm,
more. You need to be more strategic and kind of smart about how you tackle the terrain because you're going to be going over hills and on
yeah.
through the mud and on the trails and things like that.
Yeah.
So it'd be about kind of walking the hills, running the flats, running the downs,
Mm,
fueling differently. Pork pies is the
yeah.
winner. And just changing that mindset of how you kind of approach the day, kind of, so to
Yeah.
speak.
The good thing about this Peak Divide event was they kind of one of their taglines is like glory through shuffling, right? So it's a shuffle,
Yeah.
not a
Yep.
run.
Yep.
It's a journey, not a race. All of those sorts of things. But like they really kind of like that's why I kind of chose it to try and do, and I probably will try and do it again, is because it was, it encouraged you to go essentially as slowly as possible within
Yeah.
the sort of time
Yeah. Yeah.
parameters
Yeah.
of the event. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. We started at like 4 in the morning with head torches on, and I don't know if you've ever
Nice. Yeah.
run in the Peak District, but there's
I have
these,
many times, many
yeah. So
times.
there's like Stanage Edge and these kind
Yeah.
of dramatic landscapes, and because of the weather, uh, the wind was blowing the rain upwards
Yeah.
up these cliffs
Nice.
and into our faces, and it was like proper adventure. Like that's actually what I really enjoyed about it, was like the adventurous aspect of it,
hmm
and kind of getting out into the wind and the rain, which I don't mind doing if you're kind of properly equipped for it,
hmm
and just sort of like cracking on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
There's so much on Netflix, lads. I'm just saying, there are other options in life.
watch Netflix. Um, yeah, so that was just something I'd sort of had half a mind to kind of try and get into, and yeah, just slow and steady, I guess, and slow and steady and pockets full of pork pies.
Absolutely. You basically just, that's my job, is telling people to do that. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot more to it. But yeah, it's just about kind of respecting the terrain and kind of pacing yourself and going nice and steady. Whereas a marathon, it's a bit more kind of let's go and not for everyone. And it sounds like you guys, you're going to run together and hopefully have fun and
Yeah.
enjoy the experience. But for a lot of people, like your experience maybe was in London, it's like I'm going to get to the end as quickly as I can and I'm going to fucking kill myself doing it.
Yeah.
And whereas when you do those longer distances, it's kind of a different type of pain,
More
but not
sadistic.
quite as intense.
Yeah. Well, that was it. It's like so in Sheffield they have another event, the Round Sheffield Run, which is like this kind of multi-stage kind of event, which is off-road and stuff. But that was on the same day as the Spine race started,
Yeah,
and so there was a bit of my brain that was going, maybe in a few years I'll try that.
do the
And then
spine race.
and then I saw everybody finishing the Spine race, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do that.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, it looks absolutely brutal,
Yeah,
horrendous.
it is brutal. I can tell you firsthand.
Yeah.
Let's do. You got any more kind of questions that you desperately want answered?
The last question on my mind is, and I think we decided to pick a different day and a different weekend, but there was some discussion about filming a music video the day after the marathon. What should we do instead? Should we go to like a sauna, massage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
the
should we do to
best
recover?
recovery day?
Netflix and chill.
Netflix, yeah.
Well, your music video could be in a sauna.
There you go.
It's supposed to just be I'm giving it away, a dinner party. So like
As long as you don't have to get up.
yeah, just eating and sitting.
Sophisticated stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we all install chairlifts for the day after the marathon,
Yeah.
and maybe the few days after?
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. The if it's a dinner party type scenario for the video, you'll be totally fine doing the
Sitting
filming.
down.
It's when you what will happen is you'll forget that your legs hurt, and then you'll go to have to stand up, and then it'll like you'll go, oh shit, my legs don't work.
Full face first into the table.
Yeah, I mean, it
Well,
might make
Bye, great. Good
And
Good
I
video,
know, and I
yeah.
know that this is potentially saying too much, but we were talking about playing music halfway through the marathon, right? Somebody like our drummer who's going to have run half a marathon and then needs to sit and use his feet for
Oh,
the hi-hat
yeah.
pedal and the kick pedal and then stand up again and run. Somebody who's never done a marathon before, is that as bad of an idea as it sounds to
Yeah.
me?
Yes, 100%.
Can I'll pitch you a concept, right?
Right.
As a professional creative.
Right.
What I reckon you do is each of you wear straight jackets,
Yeah.
right? Full body straight jacket, right?
Yeah.
And you tie yourself to one of those, like, like the trolleys that janitors use.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
you're fully
Oh, yeah.
standing, but you're in a straight jacket.
Right.
And you're being pushed around whilst miming. But what you get is some form of robot to be playing the instrument.
Nice. Nice.
So
We'll
you're
try and work
playing.
that out on an as it is budget.
Yeah,
Robots.
yeah, robots, right?
Yeah.
And so you can make a comment on AI music
Mm.
and being constrained,
Here we go.
right?
Right.
By the-
Oh, there
See?
was a point.
Professional.
Yeah.
Right? Done this before, right? Right. So you're making a comment on the constraints of the music industry, right? And then at the end you can burst out and like fall over.
And then run another half marathon.
And then run
And then
another
run-
marathon. Run another half marathon. Or be
Genius.
pushed. Get someone to push you
Oh, yeah.
the marathon on the thing. Free.
gonna-
There you
yeah.
go, free. My gift to you.
There's
a
something
shame-
in that though.
It's a shame you're not a ska band because you could have played your trombone and trumpet and whatever else.
Yeah,
as
be a
you
bit
ran.
easier. Oh, easier to carry. I mean, I struggle having my guitar on my shoulder for an hour, let alone for a 4-hour marathon. So,
We're doing it in 4 hours.
There we go. He's just laid it
He's
down,
just-
laid down the time.
yeah, I did I did 10K in just over an hour. So four of those, and that's a marathon basically. So,
Job done.
um, job
There you
done.
go.
4 hours. It doesn't get any harder by the fourth hour. They can all be the same. Easy,
Plus 5
easy.
minutes to play a song in the middle.
Yeah, it's I can be quite optimistic. I also am one of those people that a lot of people kind of uh hate because like you know I did all right on my first the end of sentence that just some
Yeah.
people hate. No, because like sometimes I can just like I don't particularly hydrate very well.
Just
Uh,
generally.
Generally, my water intake is not great. Um, I do still like smoke and like I can just bosh out a 10K and it was like, oh, I did that. And
Well, I don't think you're going to get around the marathon by having a cigarette for breakfast. And then,
Smoking.
no,
Yeah.
no,
then
I
They
don't
have
think I am.
smoking areas at the
I'm
marathon.
going to be getting people to pass me them over the barriers, it'll be the first thing I do when I cross the finish line. No, I know I'm aware that's probably the worst thing I could possibly
Oh
do,
no, when
but
you finished, you do what the hell you want, man.
the beer and a cigarette, I can tell
Yeah,
you.
too. If that's what you want, do it.
there's nothing better than a pint after a run,
Yeah, it's
Oh,
in my
great.
opinion.
yeah. When I sat with your dad, Patty, after the marathon, and
Yeah.
he had his first crisp pint after the marathon, I was like, I'm kind of envious of the like this is just a regular pint to me, but I'm kind of envious of the feeling that Joel had of just like how good that beer must have felt after running, 26
Earning
miles.
that beer.
Yeah.
So quick question for me. When you boys are running, out on your training runs or whatever it might be, are we listening to music or are we listening to podcasts
I
or just
alternate
the nature?
between three, which is yeah, music, podcasts, and audiobooks. And then what was really fun was the marathon landed a month before Slam Dunk, so I was listening to our set, listening to the 45-minute Slam Dunk set, and sort of being in that because it's so much of this is mental as well
Yeah.
as physical. Just being somewhere else, like imagining I'm on stage and imagining the show and imagining the moments and what's going to happen. That was so helpful, and I think I'm going to do that again. Just getting the show ready for all the festivals we're doing this summer and the Boys Like Girls shows. Listening to like what we're going to be playing is really helpful because then my mind goes to like a really fulfilling place. Um, Audiobooks I really like, and podcasts I really like too. It's actually music is maybe the least. It's just sort of like the as it is set more than most of their music. But yeah, what about you guys?
Depends what kind of run I'm doing.
Mm,
Like I do have playlists which have songs on at specific tempos.
nice.
Um, if I want to try and keep a consistent,
Yep.
uh, you know, thing. But yeah, if I'm just out doing a longer run, it could be music, could be a podcast. Um, but yeah, I just
Yeah.
sometimes I don't listen to anything. I just go and run, and I'm alone with my thoughts, and then I realize I should have brought my headphones.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
you absolute maniac.
Yeah. It's just music for me at the moment. Although I did like what you said, Patty, about how sometimes if you're listening to a podcast, you can get an hour into the podcast and realize that you haven't listened to a single
Yeah.
word that anyone's said.
Yeah.
And it just passes time a bit better.
Nuts.
There's something about music, and this is maybe where I struggle a little bit, where it's like initially it energizes me, but then I also realize that every song is kind of like is like a 3 minute timer. And I
Mm.
Yeah.
don't like having that kind of, I'm like, oh my God, if this song ends and it's another 3 minutes and then it's another 3 minutes and then that's only really half a kilometer or whatever. Like, and I don't like having that. Whereas I might try now running to a podcast because it's just indefinite talking with no real like timestamps in it. And that might work better for me.
Well, I can recommend. I was joking before, but if you fancy trying it, just nothing and just see it. Like
I
because
don't think I want to be alone up there out
well,
in a
no,
run.
you get some like get some quite creative things popping into your head.
Mm.
Um, I sometimes do it just as a like no kind of like a no phones kind of thing. It's like that's kind of what I like about running, right? Is if you're able to, you just put your shoes on essentially and out the door,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
off you go, one foot in front of the other. And it's like, and I'm quite fortunate as well, is that quite a lot of the areas where I run are like there's lots of woods, trees, there's a lot of outdoors. So I kind of will go running. I would be like, all right, I'm just going to go and kind of be outdoors rather than running through a city.
Mm.
So I can appreciate maybe wanting to have headphones on more in that environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I have I don't know if you were told this, but I told your manager man,
Mr. Man.
um Mr. Man, that I'm happy to answer questions and give you guys a bit of support in the lead up to your marathon
Really
away from
appreciate that.
not all on the podcast.
we
We'd have to record everything.
The weekly journey, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll sort that out kind of behind the scenes, and
Thank you. That's very kind.
Incredibly kind.
then
Yeah,
we
Yeah,
can
appreciate that. Thank you.
you can ask as many questions as you want. Just kind of wrapping up a little bit and a little bit kind of sticking on the theme of maybe listening to music when you're out running and stuff like that. Are there any bands that we should be checking out that you guys are into at the moment?
Question. In this world, I mean, we're really big fans of RTO. I'm a really big fan. I'm going to see on Thursday. I saw them for the first time. This Brighton band called LSD. It's LSD, but it sounds like LSD. It's very clever.
Smart.
I think Ali, you'd like it. It's quite psyche rock
Oh yeah,
band.
send me a link.
I will.
Thank you.
But it was a really, really good show. That was like maybe the coolest new thing I've seen recently.
Okay.
Things in this world.
Yeah.
I at work listen to a lot of heavy music because it makes the thoughts stop. So I listened a lot to the Callous Boys last year. Their new
Nice.
record was great.
Yep.
I really liked the Spite record. Psycho Frame record was great. And we are seeing our manager's other band. He has a few bands, but Via Nova, I'm sure people have already checked out. They're incredible, and their record was really, really sick. So those are a few.
Nice.
Ben's looking at me like I'm going to come with
Yeah.
some left field suggestions here.
Come on.
Ali's going to recommend his 150 BPM playlist.
Yeah. No, I was trying to think. Not particularly new bands necessarily, but things that have come onto my radar recently is a band called Wonder Horse, which I've been enjoying, and then Viagra Boys, who are like a Swedish,
Yeah.
bit heavier. That was on one of my running playlists actually, and I had to take a note of it, and I was dug deeper into them. So those are the two kind
Good
of
name.
new for me discoveries.
Not to be confused with Venga Boys.
No.
No.
To
Very
definitely
different.
be confused with the Venga Boys, who are great.
But somehow similar.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's that. It's like the other. It's like you've gone all the way around the circle, and somehow ended up in the same place. I love it. Big fan. Yeah, good times.
Nice. And so is there anything you want to kind of we've chatted about the new album,
Plug.
but is there anything you want to plug as we kind of wrap up?
Just check out the album. Come support us at the
Nice.
marathon.
Smash
Go
it.
support Mind. Come see
Nailed
our
it.
in-stores and the Boys Like Girls tour. And if you're in Japan, come to Japan.
Come running with us
go
in
to
Japan.
Yeah. If you're not in Japan, come to Japan anyway.
Do it anyway.
Yeah, just and
Come
if
to
you-
Japan.
Thanks for checking us out, I guess. Like
Smashed it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anything to add? And anyone? Ali?
No, I
I
think
don't
you put
think
it
so.
very
Like,
succinctly.
I'd be surprised and delighted if people came to the marathon and cheered for us. I think that would be pretty cool. So
Yeah, if someone, even one
invite us
person has a
into the
sign
world.
saying "Come on as it is," then that'll
Blasting
definitely,
dial tones from a
Speaker as we go past.
yeah,
Someone will do it. You
yeah.
and I do worry for you in Japan. You're going to get mobbed, and there's going to be like 1,000 people running down the streets with you guys.
Going to
I
be
hope that
causing
happens.
causing a
Yeah.
scene everywhere we
That
go.
would, yeah, make the
Be,
local news.
be nice, wouldn't it?
I'd love that.
Yeah.
Well, we would like to wish you all the best of luck with the running, but also with
Thank
the
you.
album and the tours. And oh, I saw that you play in Kingston, right? James lives in Kingston. I'm not far from
We are,
Kingston.
yes,
Maybe
playing
we'll
at
have
Doing
to.
Beggars, you doing
Yeah,
Beggars
circuit.
Banquet?
Circuit.
Oh no, yeah, it's new, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not
what
been
was
there yet.
Prism? Yeah.
Yeah, they've not made it all. They've
Oh,
not
okay.
sorted it. Yeah, I've not been. Might be my first appearance at that place.
Ooh.
Or
Yeah.
if you feel like playing the Fighting Cocks, that's a good time.
We love a fighting cocks show. We did one last year. So
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. Very sweaty in there. So
Yeah, great venue. So yeah, good luck with it all. Thank you so
Thank
much
you very much.
for spending your evening with us.
Oh, guys,
No,
Thanks
Been
for
an
having us.
absolute delight.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
Good to chat.
And we will be in touch, or I will be in touch,
Yeah.
for all your running needs.
Well, yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank
if you want Netflix recommendations,
Yeah.
always.
James can help.
For after, yeah.
I'm in. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, lads. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you,
very much.
guys.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
Take
Bye.
care. It's the X in the corner.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Thanks.
Do we actually leave or do we stay in?
Yeah.
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 Off you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Go run.
All right,
Bye.
bye, guys.
So thank you.
That's the worst bit about doing this live.
we need like also like a little brief somehow.
When we
Which
say
is like-
goodbye,
When we say goodbye, you go.
fuck off.
Yeah. We need to give a better brief at the end. Wash up notes for us. What? And also, like, I know we say this every time, but like, what an amazing, lovely group of lads.
Yeah, I was going to say I could have chatted to them all night, but we pretty much have.
Yeah. Pushing 2 hours on today's episode. I did like. I think Ben said at one point, you time and 45 minutes has gone by and you haven't listened to a word they've said. I might put that on a bio.
I don't think he was talking
'Cause I-
specifically about us.
Well, I just
Maybe
thought
it was.
me. I wondered. All right, amazing. Let's do notices and let's
Go to
be
bed.
on our merry way.
Okay. Let's find you some tunes. Oh, what should we have? I don't know.
We're doing movie themes. We're doing
Yeah,
computer
I'm-
games. We're
I'm
doing.
I'm scrolling through. I'm just gonna see where it lands.
Okay,
And hope it's not Schindler's List again.
that was a journey for all of us.
Here we go. This will do. Here it comes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another inspiring, thought-provoking, informative interview on the Emo Dad podcast. If you would like more Emo Dad content, we are on all channels, including YouTube. You can watch this with our actual faces saying the words. If you would like to engage with the Emo Dad, you can follow us on all the platforms, specifically Instagram, where most of the shit happens and where you can talk to Matt and maybe me if I remember to look at it. If you want to engage with us and send us an email, like in ye olden days, you can email us at emodadpodcast@gmail.com. That's the email account. If you are the only emo in the village and you want to make friends, lovers, relations, you can join our Discord, where other like-minded individuals gather and discuss at the witch's castle. It feels very fantasy, this one.
I
Feels
was
very
going to ask, have you
fantasy at
worked
the
out what it is
moment.
yet?
No, but it feels like Zelda, isn't it? I don't know what
No.
it is. Oh, Lord of the Rings. No, not Lord of the Rings.
No.
Is my closer? No.
No.
If you want to support the increasingly expensive Emo Dad podcast to us, you can give us a tip jar thing where you can buy us money. Coffee these days, a ridiculous price. £3.80. Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Need to cover my time to write those lads a training plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. T-shirts, we got them. They're pretty sick. You can buy them. We know that factually that makes you friends. Subscribe to things. I think that's it. I think that's all we got. I think I'm out. I don't think I've got any more ideas. There was an Emo Dad playlist. Is that still a thing?
It's still a thing. It's slowly updated.
Right. An occasionally updated playlist.
Occasionally.
Where you can listen to all the things, some of the things, what we find interesting, what we find on this here podcast. Thank you for listening, and we will be back with a new episode every Monday, apart from the occasional Mondays when we fuck up and we're not here.
Yeah, that's fair. We try and do every Monday.
We do our best, but like, we ain't paying the bills, man. We ain't gonna make money out of this shit. So, like, get what you're given. Be thankful. That's my message.
be grateful for what you get.
No, we've been on too long. I've gone into full madness.
Silly mode.
My name has been James.
My name has been Matt, and have you not worked out what the music is?
No, what is it?
It's the live-action Smurfs movie, also known as Avatar.
All right, I should have done it in Navi, I believe is their language.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I haven't. I mean, it's a lot of naked people with penis metaphors, that movie.
I was very impressed how I think it was Ben recognized dial tone, admittedly his own song, but dial tones when I played 1 second by mistake.
Do you remember when we read out lyrics to bands and it absolutely threw them?
Yeah. Oh, why don't we do that anymore?
It was because we couldn't be bothered to do the Christmas quiz.
Oh, it was a quiz thing.
It was a Christmas quiz game. And we'll have to find a way to bring back House or No House, the game sweeping the nation.
Yes. Yeah, I missed that.
Well, maybe 2026 we'll bring it back somehow to have an Emo Dad quiz of the year. We'll see how we go. That's it. Play us out with an As It Is song, please, Mr. Buck.
Okay. Well, let's do the same song again. This is Dial Tones by As It Is. Go and check out their new music. It's really good. Goodbye.